Amidst all the new smartphones that have launched in India this year, Nokia has been largely absent. I mean, the most that we have gotten from this brand this year is the Nokia 5310 Express Music, which doesn't really throw a spanner in the likes of Xiaomi, Realme and more. In Europe, on the other hand, Nokia has been taking long strides with a couple of new launches like the Nokia 8.2 5G or the new Nokia 5.3 and two more. And these phones were launched back in March, and it's only now in August that it's coming to India. Yes, I'm talking about the Nokia 5.3. Hi, I'm Shubhajit from digit.in, and in this video we're going to look at whether the Nokia 5.3 with stock Android interface and its non-Chinese roots has what it takes to take on its Chinese competition and make a mark in the Indian smartphone market. Let's begin. The Nokia 5.3 feels nice and premium in the hands. The rear panel and the frame is actually plastic, but it's hard to guess by simply holding it. As a result, it's also quite lightweight as compared to the Redmi Note 9. The rear-mounted fingerprint sensor makes an appearance once again, and it's fast. And there's a breathing notification light on the power button. It's a nifty touch that instantly reminded me of the old Nokia phones. The front is kept traditional by today's means, a water drop notch, thin bezels, and an IPS LCD display with HD Plus resolution, which is practically a slab of glass out in the sun. But indoors, the display becomes brighter and the color saturated. So right at the beginning, it's important to set your expectations lower because so far everything in the Nokia 5.3 seems to have been chosen to keep the bill of materials lower. So how does it perform? There is a Snapdragon 665 chip inside that takes care of the computing and 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of eMMC storage. And if you compare the Redmi Note 9, it also offers the same at this price except for the Helio G85 SoC. So does the Realme 6i and the Narzo 10, only they come with the Helio G80 chipset. Now historically, Qualcomm has had the upper hand against MediaTek as far as performance is concerned in this segment, but the Snapdragon 665 on the Nokia 5.3 is now more than a year old, while the MediaTek's G series chipsets are certainly the new rage in this segment. But now the table seems to have turned. The Snapdragon 665 on the Nokia 5.3 comes last in nearly every test we perform, and this translates to the overall experience as well. The Nokia 5.3 boasts of stock Android interface, but you will need a lot of patience to bear with it. There is no bloatware, but even the basic apps like dialer, camera, Gmail and more takes more than a few seconds to open from cold. Auto-rotate makes eons to respond, and multitasking makes it even more sluggish. I went back to replying to a message before my COD match started, and it took me forever to re-enter the game. But then again, it's intuitive and everything is at hand's reach. The gesture navigations are a blessing. You simply swipe from the edges to go back to the previous screen or swipe up to go home. Largely, the Nokia 5.3 software is entirely Google's own. There's minimal interference from Nokia, and depending on the kind of user you are, this would either mean missing a lot more inbuilt features or immerse yourself into the simplicity of it all. But what about gaming? Well, you can run the popular titles like PUBG Mobile and COD Mobile, but it's far from the best experience at this price. Call of Duty Mobile on the Nokia 5.3 manages a paltry 28 frames per second with 100% stability, with the graphics set at maximum. By reducing it to high graphics, we were able to push the frame rate to 33 frames per second, but the stability came down to 82%. The PUBG Mobile experience was no better. At balanced graphics with frame rate set to medium, we clocked 25 FPS with 100% stability. The game felt slow and sluggish at this frame rate, and the response times were much slower than what most others will offer. So while the Nokia 5.3 is clearly not that very good at gaming, but what about camera enthusiasts then? The Nokia 5.3 offers a quad camera setup, but lacks the Zeiss branding. You get a 13 megapixel sensor on the primary camera with f1.8 aperture and a 5 megapixel ultra wide camera and two 2 megapixel sensors for macro and portrait shots. Nothing fancy with a 48 megapixel camera or anything here. But looking at the photos, it becomes apparent that this is where Nokia spent the most time when developing this product. In the day, the 13 megapixel camera is able to bring out some gorgeous colors and sharpness. It also gets the white balance right even when the frame is partially filled by clouds. In low light, the 13 megapixel camera isn't very useful. Yes, there is the night mode and it makes you wait a good 10 seconds clicking and processing the photo, but the end result when viewed on a monitor is shaky, noisy and lacks details. The 5 megapixel ultra wide lens is also strictly average. In the day with good lighting, the photos will come out looking sharp and saturated, but indoors and in low light, the output becomes much noisier. Portraits from the Nokia 5.3 are decent enough. It manages to separate the subject from the background quite accurately, but ends up applying the beauty filters that smoothens the facial details. The macro mode could have been handy if the resolution was higher. At 2 megapixel, the photos hardly carry any details. It does let you go closer to the subject and you will need a steady hand and color correction later. What remains is the battery life, and the 4000 mAh battery delivers on its promise. The Nokia 5.3 will easily take you through the day provided you manage to bear with its struggling compute speed. That basically sums up our review of the Nokia 5.3. It's a nice phone to look at, it's good to hold, but it's terribly slow for today's means. And with the demand for non-Chinese smartphones at an all-time high, this could have been Nokia's opportunity to swoop in, but the Nokia 5.3 feels like a knife brought to a gunfight. You can give this one a miss. So thanks for watching till the end. Let us know what you thought about our Nokia 5.3 review in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.